The main difference we see is that it's no longer a cost coverage play. Enterprises became more sophisticated, they're more experienced, they know the problems associated with large-scale IoT deployments, and they are becoming very specific in their requirements. If it's being very aware of permanent roaming restrictions, they're very sensitive to performance and latency because of battery-powered devices and so on and so forth. And as you can see that IoT is greatly evolving with different use cases. They understand that if they don't provide very, very good support with all the complexities involved with IoT, it's going to be very difficult for them to maintain their businesses going forward. And as a result of this very rapid, I would say, evolution, you see evolving business models, evolving deployments in use cases that actually translate into very, very specific and changing requirements from the CMPs. The main problem they have is permanent roaming, which everybody is becoming more aware of. So when they come to you, they ask, what do you provide in Brazil? What do you provide in Turkey? How do you cover China? And so on and so forth. It's a very important point for them. Another very important aspect is your flexibility and ability to support them. And I think, I mentioned earlier, these enterprises became more sophisticated, more knowledgeable. They understand that IoT is a complex business. It's not like, consumer handsets. You have different types of modules and vendors and versions, and they're really struggling in deploying their global IoT projects. Therefore, an immediate requirement would be, we need good support. We need access to the infrastructure, to the technology, to really help us overcome these barriers and succeed in our deployments. I would try to touch maybe four points. One of them is, and we've seen this recently with the Apple announcement of consumer eSIM taking over the world. I think that this will shift, or not shift, but influence the IoT world as well. Because once consumers become very familiar with the quick ability to land anywhere in the world, download a local profile and not rely on roaming, they will expect nothing less from their IoT deployments. And I think this will drive localization of connectivity services also for IoT. So we've been saying it, but now, Apple kind of gave this a big push forward, and I think we'll see IoT affected from this as well. So this is point number one. Another point is the rise of low power devices, LPW use cases. This drives specific requirements for latency, for global infrastructure, mainly because roaming agreements for NB-IoT or Cat-M are not fully in place, because I think the carriers still haven't found the way to monetize them. So it will again drive localization of services for low power. Another trend we see today is satellite companies all over the world offering cellular services over satellite to support the use cases of global shipping across oceans, deserts, remote areas that are not covered by traditional MNOs. So adding satellite to your overall global offering is key. And I would say the fourth prediction we have, and we see it kind of moving very fast, is that just like Ronnie said, that CMP is not only a closed product, but it must be part of a global infrastructure. We see the same for private networks. Mobile private network has been a big deal in the last few years, but it's not a silo. Okay, and mobile private networks are actually going beyond the campus, and these enterprises need coverage in those private networks, but also a seamless experience when going out of the private networks or moving between them, if it's multinational companies and so on. So I think this is another point. I would say, we at floLIVE, we took upon ourselves not a simple mission. And this was to really deploy a huge global infrastructure. And we insisted on owning our full technology stack. And this is mainly from the understanding that if we don't control the stack top to bottom, we will not be able to provide the support and services and solutions needed for the IoT world or the connected world, for the next decade or two.